ready to rock? You ready to rock? You ready to roll? You ready to roll? I'm checking the clock. I'm checking the clock. Just got in my zone. Just got in my zone. You ready to rock? I'm ready to rock with you. Ready to roll? I'm ready to work with a ring. Time is a valuable game, and you cannot stop the machine. I'm ready to rock with you. Ready to roll? I'm ready to work with a ring. Time is a valuable game, and you cannot stop the regime.
Same now, Lions coming out to play now, opposition out the way now. Out of the way, you wasn't invited. Say you come to play, I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me, then step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Game now, me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now, opposition out the way now. Out of the way, you wasn't invited. Say you come to play, I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me, then step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
Live from Lebanon, Tennessee, we welcome race fans one and all to yet another episode of Monday Night Action from the RealSimRacing IceBreaker Winter Series. Hello and welcome to RaceSpotTV. My name is Lola Rempel. I've got Terry Radford beside me in the commentary box with Joshua Lee once again working the cameras downstairs for tonight's presentation in our Winter Series season. Well, Terry, we get set to go racing at our second concrete beast in just as many weeks. Last week, of course, it was Dover. We saw a lot of really nasty twists and turns of the final race that really kicked that race into high gear. You wonder if maybe Nashville will be even cleaner, or will we be seeing a little bit more action here tonight, as I see you've got your team spirit going for us here tonight as well.
Got the big T. Tennessee Volunteers run the state of Tennessee, with the Nashville Preds run hockey. Sorry, Evan, and Evan's lady partner. Your team sucks. Vegas is trash. It's all about Tennessee. Smashville in the house. Whoop whoop. Big trust. Nah, it's going to be fun. Concrete's always my favorite. I ran 15 practice laps in here today. I was a little bit more focused on Long Beach and some F4 cars. You boys killing it, all I'm going to say. But Nashville's going to be tough. Really tight corners. Turn 1's different from turn 3. You got to get on the brakes. You have to actually be patient. The Xfinity cars are heavy as mess. I don't think I have a winner at a 33 that's out here now.
I have to say, I mean, Nashville Super Speedway is known to be one of the more difficult tracks of the schedule. We'll get to some of those challenges in a minute, but you still got your title battle still as tight as ever, with Agnell Phillip taking the race, taking the points lead after the race that he had over at Dover. It is a tie for second place between Connor Horn and Liam Sheen, and just another 4 points back, and 2 is Jared Wyman and Michael Araya to round out the top 5, all separated by just 9 points. And in total, the top 10 separated by just 20, with Corey Blevins and Cody Harris separated by a total of 0 points for the 9th and 10th positions. And you got, of course, Miller 3rd, Whitaker 7th, and Staney rounding out 6th place as well in your overall standings. So you know it's going to be a bit of a fun night tonight for these guys as we're continuing to work our way steadily but surely through the Real Sim Racing IceBreaker Winter Series season. And let's talk about Nashville Super Speedway for a moment. We talked about how it's the second concrete track in a row, and while it might look a bit wider, it certainly doesn't feel any wider than Dover, Terry, as this track tends to be very one line, especially in the corners. Bottom side is going to be one of the quickest way around, but you also heard a couple of the drivers at Dover. They think passing might be a challenge tonight.
I think it absolutely will be, too. If anybody watched the eNASCAR College Series on the iRacing channel, you saw a very one-dimensional racetrack. It was right at the bottom. The outside took a little bit to come in. It was about 30 laps until you saw the outside start to make a play up. I don't see that happening in the Xfinity cars. I'm just going to be 100% real with you. I think that the lack of consistency with this racetrack is probably why this track shut down. No disrespect to my home city, but you kind of dropped the ball on this track. This reminds me of a Kentucky. Very crappy racetrack, crappy surface, not a lot of grooves. If they wouldn't have messed with turn 1, this track would have been phenomenal, and that's the reason IndyCar only runs here once in a blue moon, and NASCAR just dropped you completely.
Well, I mean, you say that, but remember, it did make its return to the NASCAR Cup Series schedule this past season. Well, I think that's a bit debatable, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get ourselves some action there in a little while. I mean, from what I hear, they plan to make more races around the Nashville area. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the Fairgrounds Speedway at one point rumored to make a potential appearance somewhere in there as well?
No, you're right. I mean, they're debating on it now, and the Nashville Fairgrounds is where I grew up. I mean, literally, if you walk outside the fairgrounds, take a right, I lived there. Like, that was my home for many years, and the fairgrounds was always a big part of the city and a big part of what happened in Nashville. But once again, the problem is lack of attendance because of lack of racing. Nobody really wants to race the fairgrounds, but now they do because it's nostalgic. But this track right here, I don't see a racy racetrack. I just see a one groove bottom fed. Now the old configuration, that was some badass racing. This configuration's butt.
Still got about a minute left in qualifying as some drivers are looking to take it around to the grid. You've got the 23 making his way onto the racetrack right now. That's Matthew Mara, one of the few drivers that is still yet to set a qualifying lap. One of only 3 drivers, actually, including Eric Papineau as well as Connor Horn. They're all going to be looking to try to see if they can make some laps here tonight, but it looks like Horn will be retiring to the pit road, and at the moment, Mara will not have enough time to make his way fully around to the starting grid. Now, honestly, I'm starting to change gears so early on. This is just too good to pass up, though. Terry, you mentioned at the start that, of course, Nashville, you mentioned was your favorite hockey team. Immediately after you said that, Evan Busoko, who's a little down under the weather, he posted a little link with the NHL standings in our little production chat. It shows Vegas is actually beating Nashville. Do you have a rebuttal for that one?
All right, and they've got 5 more wins. All right, they've played 30. They've won 20. We play 25, won 12. Yeah, I mean, we play a harder division. It's not often that a brand new team comes in. They get to steal a best player, somewhere down the line. I mean, all Vegas is good for, and I will be perfectly real with you. It's not good. It doesn't produce good racing. Las Vegas Motor Speedway sucks. Their concerts stink. They have nothing but washed-up singers go there. I know. Elton John and all of them were there at some point in time. I mean, there's nothing there. There's nothing in Vegas, and it dang sure ain't in hockey.
Well, they're beating the top dogs over in the Central Division as well, so I guess that's one thing they got going for them. But enough about hockey. We got a race to call as it's going to be setting for 100 laps for the Nashville Super Speedway from Lebanon, Tennessee. Warm-up just getting itself wrapped on up, so as we get set to take things on over into our feature event tonight, let's take a rundown here through your Real Sim Racing starting grid. It's going to be Agno Phillip on pole position by 13 thousandths of a second. The 851 Pro Chevrolet looking to make it 2 for 2 on the Concrete Beasts with Malik Ray back in second. Michael Araya will sit in third, just 500ths of a second off. Joseph Tice is 4 more thousandths back and forth with Grant Davis and Kyle Trudell in row number 3.
You got Sam Nieto back here in 7th. Cody Harris sits in 8th. And the last time we were in a Tennessee track, he won at Bristol. So Michael Johnson back there in 9th here in Winemaster 10. Ryan Dunkelberger in 11th. And the number 11 starts 12th.
It's going to be a Lautaro Lamperti that started back in that 12th position with Andrew Phipps in 13th. Nate Stewart back in 14th. Brady Whitaker will start 15th with Corey Blevins in 16th. Wetmore and Fetter Place round out row number 9.
Ross Cato, Thomas George go back there in 19th to 20th with Zach Roethlisberger in 21st. Harry Grindle 22nd. Richard Woodruff in 23rd. And Manatzi Major in the Holiday Sprite machine.
So we put Nicholas Mara back in 25th place with Steve Durham in 26th. Jason Staney is in 27th. Kuczynski is 28th. Tom Morano, Sean Kalis are in 29th and 30th.
31st, Mr. Flores and Chris Edwards. 32nd, Connor Horn, Eric Papineau, and Matt Mara did not put time down from 32nd to 35th.
That's going to round out your 35-car starting grid here tonight for race number, I believe this is going to be number 3 at the Nashville Super Speedway in your Real Sim Racing IceBreaker Winter Series. Single pace lap underway for these drivers, and it's a pretty decently warm track out there. 93 degrees Fahrenheit, 77 in the air. Nice cool breeze of 4 miles an hour, blowing off just up to the north. So it should be a fun race tonight then for 100 laps. And it will be in the hands of Agnell Phillips, number 94, A51 Pro Chevrolet. As Pace Car makes that left-hand turn down to Pay Road. Want to thank everybody for joining us here for more Real Sim Racing action on this beautiful Monday night. From Lebanon, Tennessee, it's time to get this party started. Let's go racing from the Nashville Super Speedway. Good start from Agnell Phillip to the race lead already, but looking for the inside is going to be Malik Ray and the number 21 car. Going to shoot to the inside line, trying to make a run for the lead early. Phillip has to get out of the throttle to avoid running into the outside wall. Ray's going to go and take the lead away. Leroy trying to push it for 3 up the middle on lap number 2, but it'll be Ray to lead that second lap from the bottom. First lead change of the night on only the second lap of the race.
I think Malik knew that he had to take this lead early. This track position is going to be massive. While I do think we are going to get green flag pit stops in this 100-lap race, because I don't see us really racing a whole lot. You'll see somebody have to send it in there is Lariah. He's going to get the run off the exit of 2, try to get the run down the back straightaway. You see some side-by-side action back here, a little further back, but then it quickly single files out. You see Malik's line a little bit up, gives Michael Lariah just a smidge of air to the bottom. But you got to be careful here. This is not a track that you can tear the tires up and be forgiven at the end.
One driver did not make it to the start. You see him at the bottom of the timing boards. It was Tom Wetmore that is now 15 seconds back. He missed the start due to a connection issue for himself, but luckily for him, he did not lose a lap. And how about this? Malik Ray pulling to the inside and allowing Michael Araya through. That was very strategic. Ray had a good run off the exit, but he pulled to the inside and lifted off the throttle. Ray doesn't want to lead this race all of a sudden here, Terry.
Well, it was also a big key that people who did watch that college race, it was talked about, and it was actually noticed on the broadcast. If you were the leader, you burnt the right front off. I mean, just miserably burnt it off. And I noticed that practicing today. Between the 13th lap, I mean, I got 10, 11, 12, 13 laps in, and you could just feel it start to plow up the racetrack because it was so much air on the nose. You can cool the tires off sitting in second. As you see Sam Nieto right here with, I think he's got Christmas boxes with presents back here in the back. I'll have to ask him what that is, with some, those Under Armour shoes? Maybe he's a runner in a weird-looking VR headset thing. But that tire will burn off pretty harshly here. But you see, if you duck off to the inside there and you actually hold it without staying in the wake of the driver in front of you, you can save some tire here.
It's actually a bit unusual that, because usually it's vice versa, isn't it? You usually find yourself burning off more tires if you're running in the dirty air because you have to work that much harder to stay up close to these guys and the air works against you. It's almost a complete opposite then of the rules that we traditionally see in racing here at the Nashville Superspeedway, but it's part of what makes this track such a thrill to watch, in all honesty. It makes it, very unique. There's no other track like it on the iRacing service. It is the biggest concrete oval that there is, and it's certainly showing that it is going to be a good race for these guys then here tonight. Michael Araya pulling out a 0.6 of a second lead now over Malik Ray. Ray started to check up this main train here that holds second place all the way back to about 13th, where Andrew Phipps sits, and he got a bit of a break back to Nate Stewart in 14th.
I mean, I guess this is, more fun watching than it is watching the Michigan Wolverines play the first half of a football game. He's not here. Yeah, so Pasoko's not here, so I'll poke and prod just a little bit more to get him energized out there. Hopefully make him feel a little bit better. He should be taking some NyQuil, but he ain't. But I mean, this is an entertaining racetrack because you see drivers of the 18. You saw Ryan right there; he caught the wall a tad bit. You're going to push a whole lot harder in these corners to get off the exit to get the run. While people think this is just a normal traditional cookie cutter, this is a Dover on steroids. It's harsh on the tires, harsh on the drivers, harsh on your steering rigs. I've actually watched a driver break his wheel racing in a full-length Nashville race because he was constantly sawing at the wheel. It was like 100 laps or something into it, and the thing broke off, and then he actually had to replace his entire wheel. So things tend to break off in virtual, in real life, and on the racetrack.
It's interesting that you put it as a Dover on steroids type of thing, because on most cases I'd agree, and this track is bigger. It tends to be faster. There's one really crucial difference here, though. The banking is smaller. You get bigger banking at the corners and on the straights of the Dover International Speedway than you do here at the Nashville Superspeedway. That's part of what makes this track such a killer on tires, especially, as you mentioned correctly, that right front, which it looks like Michael Araya has started to feel as that gap has dropped down from 0.6 down to 4.5.
Yeah, I mean, they're not having to push as hard back there. If you look at what Malik's doing, he's actually just holding serve. I mean, I'm looking at his lap times, and he was pretty even with everybody. I mean, he was only 3/100ths faster than the rest of the field. But you see the battle for 7th go on. I mean, we can consider this much of a battle, but all these drivers are just trying to get track position. The moment they are able to make a run to the inside or outside, if they can go for it, they're going to do it. My suggestion would be is wait to the pit stops. Somebody's going to make a mistake, or wait for them to bobble. As you saw Joseph Tice right there. Ryan in the 18 went to go look underneath him. He watched up the racetrack, but you're probably going to have to sit in this single file line until the tires start to either fall apart and you come down pit road, or you start making mistakes off the exit of these corners, and turn 4 most definitely will be the one you're going to make the mistake off of.
Well, it's interesting that, again, you mentioned turn 4. We've already seen a few drivers slap that outside wall off that final corner. Michael Kuczynski has got some front-end damage as a result of hitting that wall. So does Matthew Mara. I know Richard Woodruff has some damage as well in his number 27 car. And most notably was Brandon Fetterplace, who you actually saw slap the outside wall on just the first lap of the race. And now he's lost the tail end of this draft. Joseph Tice up to the top side, trying to fend off Ryan Dunkelberger from the bottom. A flat-out Motorsports Mountain Dew Chevrolet, though, going to make sure he stays out of the wall for the time being. And the Boot Esports 18 Mustang going to have to work on the bottom lane to try to see if he can work his way up to Grant Davis in the boosted Chevrolet. And that'll be a spot gain there for Dunkelberger. Going to poke his way up into the top 5 for the first time all race long. Yeah, for the first time all race long, as a matter of fact, actually, for him. He's already up, I believe that makes 7 spots now
6
for Dunkelberger.
He's up 6 right there from his 11th place starting position. And he's done it methodically, right? He's just allowed drivers to make the mistakes. He was on the bottom, was able to drive past a couple people in turn 1, waited for everybody to shuffle to get to the bottom. And it's always going to be like that here. You're going to have a race to who gets to the bottom first. Who pinches that yellow line the quickest. And you can make spots up just by sailing it in there and making somebody else have to check up for you. It's a smart strategy. I like it. I mean, he's very fast. It's looking at his lap times, he's right there with them. I mean, he's actually, even during the pass, he was one of the faster cars on the racetrack there. I'm still surprised-ish, though, that Lariah with the clean air isn't going any better than what he was at the time. I mean, they're the only ones, him and Malik are the only ones to go 30.9s. Everybody else is 31.0s. But the fact that he hadn't been able to kind of gap out there a little bit or back the pace up just a tad bit to kind of save a little bit more. He's still running very consistent lap times, but not as fast as what the drivers behind him are, even in traffic.
On board with Ross Cato a little bit in the background, and he's not the only one that's got some Christmas and team spirit, looks like, going on in the background for himself. Cato at the moment running a little bit deeper in your pack overall. He sits 15th, headed up a bit of a second train. He's got Brady Whitaker and Thomas George hot on his heels. The car in front that he's trying to close up to is the likes of Nate Stewart in the number 4 car. So the HCC Supra will have to do a bit of work if he wants to stay out in front of the Fast and Forward Esports number 12 Mustang, as they'll once again hightail it down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. Already, we're almost a fifth of the way through this race. We're 18 and a half laps in. Just like Dover, this race flying by in a hurry here. It's interesting because unlike most races, you have to do a little bit of math. You can actually count the exact percentage we are through this race by just tracking the lap counter.
Speaking of fifths, I hear that Tennessee is well known for fifths of Jack Daniels. There you go. That's all I got. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, this track is super easy to figure out laps. I mean, it's 1.33 miles in length. It's, 100 laps tells you exactly all you need to know. I kind of wish it was just a mile. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I wish that they would have condensed this into the mile, configuration and not add that 0.33 in there to make it a little bit more confusing. But I mean, we're seeing what we thought we'd see. Single file. You have to make moves when you can, which would mainly be on the restarts. And passing is most definitely going to be at a premium. Once they make that first pit stop, which I would suspect they're going to do it at the halfway point, you're going to see a little bit of comers and goers and shaking up in the field. But unless there's a single car spin or somebody just dumps somebody, I don't think we're going to see a caution tonight.
It's not often you've seen RSR race go caution-free. Usually they do have at least one or two. They tend to keep it more contained to that, though. I believe Dover, if remember serves me right, had about 5 cautions in total over the course of that 120-lap race. And first caution had come at not even before lap 20 had to come out. They actually had a relatively green flag run, and then the remaining 4 came in a very quick succession right at the end as a result of a bit of a clumsy incident regarding one car fresh out of pit road and one driver trying to unlap himself. So there's a bit of unpleasantness there from Dover that kind of saw what happened a very clean race up to that point, get a little bit spoiled towards the end, but we're able to get that green flag finish in while using one of the green-white checkered attempts, and now we'll look to see if potentially this race here can go one better and go caution-free, or at least finish under the regulation time, as we're approaching lap number 23. Still have all 35 cars on the track and on the lead lap. About 18 seconds separate first from 35th that last time by at the line, and that would make then your 35th place starter going into turn 3 right about now. So about half a lap separates Michael Araya from the Hoyne Flores at the tail end of the field.
Yeah, this is a I could kind of say weird-ish racetrack, with the fact that 18 seconds, you can go all the way up to what, 29, 30 seconds before you go a lap down here. Oh, you see a little side-by-side racing back there a little further back. I believe that's with the 11 and the 7 of Kyle Trudell that are going at it here. That's for the battle for the 10th place position. Looks like the 11 gets under Kyle, and then here comes Nate Stewart to the bottom. You know, he's a Kentucky fan, right? From Kentucky, goes to school there in Kentucky. I believe it's Hopkinsville. He goes to school. You get up there and meet him one day. You know, Hopkinsville Community College own Nate Stewart. I don't have any jokes because he's going to watch this broadcast. He said that was the happiest he had been, as I don't get to make crappy Kentucky puns about how bad the Kentucky Wildcats are.
Still single file down that back straightaway, and it looks like the drivers' predictions about this race from Dover are ringing true. It is a very difficult track to pass at, not uncommon for races like Nashville. We even saw that the last Cup race we had over here for the Full Throttle RealSimRacing Cup Series over just this past season when they had their race here. Oh, there's a bit of a lunge. Nate Stewart forcing the door open in the Hopkins Community College Supra, moving up the inside of the Junco C Sports number 11 Chevrolet, driven by Lautaro Lamperti. So that was a bit of a bold move for Stewart. You saw Lamperti try to slam the door shut. Wasn't able to do so, though, so Stewart will poke his way up into the top 10. Now he's got Cody Harris in 9th ahead of him. From there, you got about a second up to Michael Johnson, who's hanging on for 8th.
Remember what I said about when you make passes here, you actually have to go force that spot to become yours and to make the door stay open. He did just that, and that's the kind of racer he is. He's very methodical. He's very smart about every move that he's going to make on the racetrack. I would say calculated, I guess, but that, you know, it's a little bit out of far-fetched to what I would say on a broadcast. But I've watched him a lot. I've had a chance to watch a lot of his league races. I've watched him obviously grow in the college series as well. I would say he's one of my favorite racers, and I don't, you know, watch a whole lot of racing outside of what we broadcast, but I just like his style. I like the fact that he's able to make those moves and he's able to save the car doing it. He saves the tires. He doesn't tear anything up. He doesn't wreck anybody. You see the move right here. He just put on Cody Harris. He comes off the corner, and he actually just gets to the inside. And right when Cody tried to come back down, he's like, no, I'm here, and you're going to give me this spot, because he's going to go up here and he's going to race you for it. He's going to race you hard. That's the kind of racer I enjoy. I enjoy racing like that. He definitely brings all you know, sides of it that you would want. He's good to talk to. He's good with reading the stuff that he needs to read, and he understands where to put the car and how to drive it.
Saw Kyle Trudell get a bit close to the outside wall, nearly running into the high wall out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. That allows Andrew Phipps to close on in, and Phipps took a bit of a narrow entry, seeing if he could force the door open. Wasn't going to happen, and now he's got Ross Cato attacking for the inside line. That's for the 14th position, and Phipps going to try to hang this one high and wide around the outside. Not going to be able to do so, so the 9 going to pull away in front for the 12th position overall, while they'll go double file just a little ways behind. That's going to break apart this second pack a little bit here. One by one, drivers starting to settle into their own little groupings here, as got Thomas George just tucked in line behind Connor Horn, and Ross Cato finishes the move on Andrew Phipps for 14th. Now Connor Horn looks to see if he can follow suit and get a freight train going on Phipps' Bowie Esport 25 Supra, but this time the 25 going to hold strong, and he'll pin that one to the bottom. No room for Connor Horn to look up the inside. Doesn't mean he can't crowd the mirrors, though.
Yeah, and when you come off these corners, if you can't make the pass, you basically just have to make that driver respect that you're there. You have to go up in their mirror. You have to make them respect you and make them know that if they make a mistake, you're going to take that spot. As you see side by side behind Cato here between Phipps and Connor Horn. Surprised to see Connor Horn not run it further up front. Sitting back in the 15th position now as the 67th finally gets around Phipps right there. And it's very surprising to me. I thought that Connor Horn would be up here is now you take a look at the live standings on the right side of your screen with Agnell Phillip right there is still holding the points lead by 2. You see Lariah +3 holding this race lead. I think we're doing these points regular. We don't have a playoff in this system. It's just 10 straight races or 8 straight races, right?
It is indeed 8 straight races through from flag to flag. So no playoffs in mind for the Real Sim Racing IceBreaker Winter Series. And honestly, I kind of like that. I like a straight points championship whenever I did see one. Really shows who's best driver at the end of the day. Malik Ray has had enough waiting around. He's going to make the dive for the race lead up the inside of Michael Lariah. Lariah burned his tires up a bit too much, and now he's going to burn them even more as he tries to stay in front for the lead. Ray's going to have that one forced through turn 2, and he'll clear down to the back straightaway. So the 21 car goes back to the point. He led a few laps in the early running, and now he's looking like he wants to try to lead a few more before we get to that halfway mark in about 16 laps time.
Well, Twitter's always my favorite thing to look at during a race because people are quick to point out that people are making passes. So Tom Wetmore up a couple positions already in this race. Started dead last. He's up to 29th. So, you know, not a whole lot of passing in 35 laps. My point stays pretty solid here. You know, 5 positions gained in 35 laps. Passing's at a premium. It's always going to be. You just saw the pass for the race lead with Malik Ray going up there taking the lead. I believe this is his first start of the season. I don't know. He didn't race last week. He said he would start this week, and here he sits up here winning the race in Nashville.
Just under a 10.5 separate the top 2. It's another about a 10.5 back to the likes of Agnell Phillip, who still runs 3rd after he started up on pole position. But the crucial thing about this for Phillip, while he hasn't been able to make the run for the lead, I'm not so sure he's wanted to, because he has been keeping tabs with this leading group, and he's been right up with one pace this entire time. And we know Phillip, he's good on the long run, and he's been working on that all throughout the 2022 season for the Full Throttle Cup Series after he had a few races that probably could have gone his way, but ended up not going quite his way a little bit further down the order. You know, I got a bit of a battle for 6th place on back. That got a bit hairy just a second ago as Michael Johnson pulled a very late block on Nate Stewart and nearly wrecked himself across the 4's nose.
He does go take it 3 wide. I'm telling you, that's one person that I'm not going to. I mean, you're not going to block. You're not going to block him like that. I wouldn't block half of these drivers in here in a bad way. As you see, the 4 gets underneath the 39. He's going to make that pass happen, move him up to 7th. And here comes Joseph Tice. He's trying to go up here and make the pass, but he's going to tuck back in. And now you see if the 4 can make the run up to the 18 machine, he'll come off the 4. See if that goes. But yeah, throwing a block here at Nashville. I don't. It's not two things you necessarily put hand in hand.
Oh, a bit deep there as well for Johnson. Tice tried to stick one up the inside, but not able to make it happen. Nate Stewart, meanwhile, get a bit aggressive as he's going to shoot to the inside of Ryan Dunkelberger. Make the move for 6 down to the turn number 3 at the head of this small pack here. That's going to let Johnson close right on up. Nate Stewart is, I think, a bit done of being stuck around in some of this slower traffic. He's going to use that apron on the bottom side. That's something we commonly see at tracks like Chicago and Kansas, Kentucky, and the like. You don't see it all that often at Nashville Superspeedway. A lot of people, I've noticed, have the belief that the transition is so sharp that you're going to scrub off too much speed for it to actually be worth using, but take a short enough line, it might just work out, and looks like it worked out for Stewart as he'll take that 6th spot away, and Dunkelberg will lose 7th and gets into the back end of Michael Johnson and nearly took Tice with him. Still washing up the track trying to chase it.
Yeah, there's not much of an advantage going down on the apron. I agree with most of the people that the angle there, oh man, that 18 is mad. That whole car is just angry. He's drove the right rear off of that thing. There's no way that he can't tell me that tire is equal to the rest. That right rear tire is probably just on fire. If you see him drive around here, that's 2 times in a row I've seen him go into the corner and he's just been absolutely sideways see the battle for the transition to that apron. I'll go back to that. It works if you hit it right. You know, you don't just go down there and take it and hit it as hard as possible. It does scrub some speed. It's going to change the way that the car handles, and then when you come back on the racetrack, it just doesn't feel good. It didn't feel right when I did it in practice, but that's my liking. You know, my preference is even at road courses, I don't like to hit the turtles, even though it's the fastest way. I don't like the unstableness there. But hey, these drivers are out here driving really well. I mean, you still see the two of Sam Nieto. He's trying to get under Grant Davis. Not making it up so far.
Grant Davis having a struggle to work against the likes of Sam Nieto in the background here as they continue to steadily work our way through our 100-lap event. We're going to be on the lap 44 this time by, and we're starting to get closer and closer to the halfway mark in this race. So now I think drivers might start to think about pit strategy. When do you want to make that call to come down to the lane? Nieto going to lunge for the inside of Grant Davis in the boosted Chevrolet, and the discount tire Mustang going to get to the quarter panel and will be able to clear off of turn number 2. Grant Davis still tucked in line. Will he try to fight this one back into 3 and 4? Gave a little bit of a tap, but going to opt against it. Does not want to risk trying to fight it back with Sam Nieto, especially with an aggressive Nate Stewart trying to close it in, as Nieto going to be up now to that 4th position. And now, next car in sight is Agno Phillip for the podium, but he's 2.5 seconds up the road.
Curious what kind of water bottle's sitting on his couch right there. Saw a water bottle back here. I know it's, you know, something you buy at the store, but what's the brand of that water? Or is that a Sprite? What bottle is that sitting on the couch? Diet Dr. Pepper potentially? I got one right here in a McDonald's cup, but I didn't say that. Sorry, Wendy's and iRacing, but you know, you see them. You know, I like the game of chair. Gotta look to it. This is why I like, you know, when drivers share their cameras, we get to analyze what's behind them. Like, what's that circular thing? Is that like a little trampoline thing where you just stretch it out, or is that just a circle?
Looks like a hamster wheel.
Like, yeah, like, what is that? A hula hoop? A big old hula hoop, like 4 people to get in it and flicker around or whatnot? That's I don't know. It looks fun. We got more drivers to look at, too. We can analyze all of that as we get to almost to the halfway point, Nolan. Nate Stewart just jumped into the top 5, and looking at the biggest movers so far in this race, I said that passing was at a premium. Well, I got to call Connor Horn and apologize to him because he's passed 21 people. He's up 21 spots. You see, there's 10 for Jason Stenley. A lot of big movers coming up in here for Team Watson Racing. That's a team that's kicking some tail, doing a lot of stuff in the iRacing community. I shouted out a bunch of the people on Twitter with setups and whatnot. Team Watson Racing's getting close to 500. I believe it's 500 sales. I think they posted today 500 sales. They're looking for an overall championship this season. They've got great goals going into the 2023 season, and I think they're going to achieve them. They got a whole lot of good people behind them over there at that race team.
You saw Jaron Weimesser just try to execute an overtake on Ryan Dunkelberger down to turns 3 and 4. He was not able to get to the inside, though, and now Weimesser forced up top as Connor Horn will seize the moment, and he's going to look to the inside to pick off another car. And Connor Horn now up to the 11th position, all the way from 33rd on the grid. Make that now 21 spots gained for Connor Horn, as a bit of a slap to the wall there looked like for Weimasser, potentially off of turn number 2 to the back straightaway. But Horn, he's now going to be able to try to close on up to Ryan Dunkelberger and see if he can't overtake that number 18 car before the evening here is concluded. And I have to say, it's been a very solid run so far for everybody in this field, and we are going to be halfway this next time by at the line.
Yeah, Corey Blevins just came down pit road. Minotzi Major came down. Matthew Mara came down on lap 41. Pit stops are starting to happen. I said I thought we'd see him at the halfway point. Why not? Why not come down, potentially go a little further as Michael Johnson comes down pit road. He's going to come out of the, I believe, fourth or fifth place position. He's coming out of the top. Connor Horn's going to come down. A lot of movers going to start going up here, and especially the ones that are a little further back. Some that have to make up a distance that was maybe 5-6 seconds behind the race leader. Go out there and get 3 or 4 laps on them. Try to close it up just a little bit, and then pray for that caution to come out. Right, once you see Malik Gray, Agnell Phillip, any of them come down pit road, hope for the caution once you've turned a couple laps. But you need 5 to 6 laps, right? You're going to need that turnover to put you in that running, to get you right there to get to the back bumper of the race leader or in front of him. Get your caution and then heads up racing. But the track position is going to have to get flipped at some point in time as more people down here. And what a hell of a camera shot there.
That's Nicholas Mara at the background. That's in the foreground. That was Ryan Dunkelberger turning into his pit stall. We're going to hold off on our typical mid-race field rundown until these pit cycles are completed, because obviously we're not going to be able to read through this as quickly as things are changing out there on the racetrack. It's very fluid at the moment. Your timing screens over on the left-hand side as Wymester, Grindel, Whitaker all make the trips down to pit road. This next time by, we still have good chunk drivers on the track, and whoa, you saw Nicholas Mara carrying the front wheels a little bit there. Aggressive on the throttle, get back to pit speed limit for the Cubs number 22 Mustang.
Gotta get every inch, man. You can't leave anything out there. Pit road's one of the most harmful places to lose it. I mean, you think about it. You're coming off the pit road. If you go, if the speed limit's 45, you go 44. Well, hell, you just lost 2 or 3 tenths. To somebody else, and those 2 or 3 tenths is the difference of you finish in second or you finish in 5th. It's a whole lot of time you're losing out here as Ross Cato comes down, 57 comes down. That would be Jason Staheny. If I pronounced that one wrong, I'm sorry. Surprised to not see the leaders yet. You started to see most of the other field come in. I mean, we've got so far, I think it's 20 drivers that stayed on the racetrack, or now make that 18 drivers that stayed on the racetrack. Everybody else, you know, has come down and pitted. I don't think they're waiting for the caution to come out as the 20. Something happened to him. He's got a lot of damage.
He hit the wall on the opening lap of the race, actually, coming off of turn number 4. That's where he got all that right front damage from, and he's been having to nurse that car ever since for the last 54 laps. So it hasn't been a pleasant ride for the number 20 Bowie Esports Supra at the moment, as he's going to pull down into his pit stall, and he's going to have to continue to work with that damage until after a caution comes out. And behind him, Woodruff just pitted as well. Oh, and trouble on the front straightaway as Chris Edwards has just gone around, and he's taking Andrew Phipps with him for caution flag number 1. That's big, right in the middle of pit stops. That's just what happened at Dover, except crucial thing at Dover, that one happened with only about 15 laps to go.
Well, that just trapped from 18th on back. Pretty decently, pretty decently back. And you see Phipps right here, just 72 just gets loose, and there he goes. And what stinks for Phipps is he had just pitted. You know, he was in that spot that, hey, you know, I can make this happen. You see Chris Edwards, he had not pitted yet, so it was a difference in tires there. He gets loose on the outside, and then you see it sweep up here. But this is a massive break and a massive win for your top, I would say 17, because Sean Kalis is right there, Mike Kaczynski, Tom Morano, Tom Wetmore. I mean, drivers who were mired back in traffic for the majority of this race just got the gift of a lifetime.
Everybody in the lead pack that still had yet to stop is going to be down to pit road. Expect a lot of the guys that already pitted to stay out to try to get themselves back onto the lead lap. Malik Ray will be the driver to lead them down. He had Agnell Phillip hot on his heels. We'll see which one of them gets the ride out of pit road first. We saw the race lead change hands in the pit stops at Dover under green flag conditions when they were nose to tail like this. It stands to reason it did change hands under caution here potentially if Agnell Phillip can be out of pit road fast enough. Gonna be close, and I think Malik Ray just getting the nose out of Agnell Phillip in the race off of pit road. But boy, it was a tight one as your field will steadily file their way down out and line up behind the pace car.
Yeah, it's I think he won it by less than a fingertip, but So far, so good, right? It's not. It hasn't necessarily been a snooze fest. Now it's definitely not going to be, right? Now we kind of got what we wanted. Well, I guess we can say what we wanted, because we wanted to see something happen that shook this field upside down, that would change the complexion of this race. Well, this did, because now the drivers that obviously pitted under the green flag condition, they're kind of up a creek without a paddle. So they had to take the wave around. One of them got the free pass. None of them technically passed the race leader to get back on the lead lap. So they all had to take this wave around, going all the way back to 18th. Connor Horn, all that work he did, all the work he did getting up to the 15th or 14th, 15th position, gone. He's now sitting in 17th, and he's on 7 lap older tires than the guys in front of him. So more work. He's going to have to pray for a caution to come out in the next, I would say 10 laps. I'll give him 10, because then I think everybody's going to pit. But that stinks, because that just put all of those drivers who drove through the field or had good runs going just behind the 8 ball.
Well, while we're under this caution period, it's good a time as ever to take a rundown of your full current running order, as we'll take our midway race break under this yellow flag period. It's Malik Ray still leading the way after yellow flag pit stops, with Phillip back in second. LeRon brings up third. Stewart's up 10 positions from 14th to 4th. Nieto is back in 5th. Harris 6th. Davis 7th. Tice is 8th. Steve Durham, a big mover of the race, 26th to 9th. And Tom Wetmore rounds out the top 10.
We have Thomas George back there in 11th. Tom Morano, Mike Kaczynski, 88 of Flores, Lamperti, I think that's right, in 15th. Eric Papineau in 16th. That would put, my timing's acting weird already. K-List, Horn. Yep, that's all I got.
It looks like it's going to be Connor Horn back in 18th, with Johnson and Weimer at 20th. We're in the cars now that have been waved around the pace cars. We take it to 1 lap to green, so I can't say I entirely blame you. Ryan Dunkelberger, the first driver that's lost a boatload of spots. He's down 10 from 11th to 21st. Kyle Trudell, though, 6th place. He's down to 22nd, with Harry Gradell in 23rd. Blevis 24th. From there, it's Cato, Major, Stanley, Whitaker, Phipps, and Mart around to the top 30. Zach Roethlisberger will be the last driver on the lead lap, and the last driver to get waved on the pace car as well. Feta Place, Woodrow, Mara, all going to be laps down, and Chris Edwards as well. Edwards and Mara both out of the race. They'll be the first 2 retirements from 34th and 35th. So Malik Ray going to take us around through 3 and 4 as we wrap up your Real Sim Racing midway race break a little bit later. But hey, better late than never, as the last of the drivers getting waved around will catch up to the tail of the pacing line just in time. And we'll leave it in the hands of Malik Ray for when he enters that Geico restart zone to take us back to the green flag. The Sim seats number 21, the Ford Mustang, going to be in control of the field with the 851 Pro Chevrolet on his outside line. Green flag's back in the air from Nashville. And Ray still leads the first lap back to green, but for how long is going to be the big ticket question. Remember, early on the first run when Malik Ray took that lead, he was one of the drivers that slowed down to give the lead up, because he realized, courtesy of that college series and the Ignite series, you don't want to find yourself in the lead for too long. It burns you right in front of it. You hit the nail on the head with that one earlier on, Terry. We saw that same thing happen to Michael Araya. You still got 39 laps to go. It's a lot of time for that right front tire to fall away. I reckon if Ray wants to make sure his tires are in good working order by that last lap, he's got to give this lead up here pretty quickly. We'll see what the strategy is going to be, if he's going to change it up at all from the opening run.
Well, and I think they learned something, right? I think that's kind of how this goes. Is how this racing stuff works. Is you have to understand what's going to happen from run to run. You also have to understand what the track changes is going to be like. Early on, with no rubber on the racetrack, yeah, you're going to burn that tire up. And I still think that you will But once a little bit more rubber gets laid down, you start to be the track starts to tighten up, and then it you know, when the initial part it tightens, and then as the rubber gets laid down, it starts to loosen the car up. You start to have a different feel that's going to be given to the race car. And if you're behind somebody, you naturally start to free yourself up. You can drive off the right rear a little bit more. You know, still understand there's 4 tires on it. You have to, at some point in time, drive with all 4. You can't just drive with the right front. But there's a reason Malik Ray has a pro world champion or pro license, you know, because he's that good. He's that guy. It's good to have Malik come down here and run an RSR in the off season for the Coke Series. To have him come down here and run the Xfinity cars is pretty awesome to see, and would be a little cooler. We got a couple guys that are not here for Contender. We're still wishing them the best of luck and watching them as they go. Kevin King's having a, I don't know if you keep up with the Contender Series, he's having an all right season for himself.
Bit of smoke flying up as drivers get a bit close with that outside wall. We're looking back to Durham, who's trying to let Thomas George through on the bottom. That's for 10th place. And it's going to be a bit of an easy run there for Thomas George, and caution is out again, and it's for a wreck over in turn number 2. You still got one car sliding in the back there. It's, I think, Nicholas Mara in the 22 Chicago Cubs machine, but
just like their baseball season.
I don't think he's the one that's actually had the caution come out, though. It might have been the likes of Kyle Trudell. Is a bit of a close shave there with Sean Kalis and Manatsu Major off of turn number 4, and then down to turn 1.
Oh, caught the apron.
Yeah, washed up and into the 7, and nowhere for Mara to go in the 22.
And this is why people don't like cranberry Sprite. For that reason right there. It washes up and it gives you acid reflux. It's going to do it there too.
I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to take a moment to recover from that statement for a minute. I think you've just given me secondhand whiplash there. Just like Nicholas Mara just got as he slammed into the side of Kyle Trudell as he slid down the racetrack. I don't think I've ever been hit with. Oh my goodness! A lot of late fakes in the pit road. Phillip faked out while Araya faked in, and how about this? Looking up at the cars we're with him, there's only about 6 cars that have stayed out here.
Well, hey, you remember what Terry said? I'm not wrong very many times, unpopular to Evan Pasoko's belief with a common L for me. They needed a caution. All of your wave-around drivers needed a caution. From 18th on back, they took that wave-around. You watched them go around the pace car. Well, lo and behold, there's your caution. Within 10 laps, he was actually 10 laps on the dot, so once again, win for Terry. They get a roll here. They get a new lease on life. They get a new opportunity, and with this, you know, their last pit stop, you know, being none. Here we go. Now it's time to put up or shut up. If you're them who took that wave around, I mean, you think of the likes of Cato was having a good run. Papineau was stuck back there a little bit. He's there in this spot. Wetmore's got a chance inside the top 10. Drove from the back up here. Cody Harris was having a good run. Got trapped right there. Now you got to go out and make something of it.
I think I finally recovered from that analogy you put up before. I don't think I've ever been hit with words like a freight train harder than that right there. That was
well, it's just a crappy soda.
I don't know sodas, man. I don't drink that stuff. I'm a water guy through and through.
So am I, but you've never had a Sprite cranberry, like ever?
I've had a regular one once.
Okay. Well, when you go to the store, I don't, you know, obviously you're in Canada. I'm not 100% sure if they have Sprite cranberry there. You ever stop and get Sprite cranberry, do me a favor. Just buy one, take a small sip of it, realize it's garbage, and then shoot it and brick like LeBron's been for the past, like, 2 months for the Lakers.
We do not have any in Canada. I have just confirmed that.
You have no? That sucks.
At least not in the first 5 results of Google, from what I've looked at. So
we're gonna have to ship you some. We're gonna have to get you a Sprite cranberry just so you can experience the letdown of millions of Americans who took a drink of it and realized, man, this stinks. It's just not good. Their tropical one's very good. They had it at McDonald's for a limited time. It was actually really good. I like Sprite, and I thought the cranberry was just crap. It wasn't even good.
I don't think I've ever heard a more heartfelt speech for or against a soda in my life than right now.
I just really wish they would keep the tropical, the tropical berry Sprite, and throw the cranberry stuff away. I mean, I hate to tell you, I think it's cheeks. Nate Stewart is listening to the broadcast, and you're right. Okay, you've made some passes, and I praised you. Why you only called me out when I said the passing isn't there? You have made a lot of passes, Nate. I ain't taking it away from you. You've made passes when you had to make passes. Same thing with Tom Wetmore's crew. Comes at me when I said something about passing. You're right. There is this little damn Twitter. You call me out when you call me out. We got you
Put
on
the
camera
phone
now.
down. You're about to go racing.
Yeah, you're on camera now. But call me out when something happens or whatnot. He made passes when he had to, and I gave him great praise from it too, all right? I gave him nothing but praises with how good of a racer I think he is. He's easily one of my favorite drivers, and I don't say that or take that lightly. I love watching him race. He just has that passion about him that if he was in a real-life race car, hell, I'd own every bit of his merchandise.
Oh, boy.
This is why we needed Zoom.
Fun time under caution's over. We're about to go back racing here. It's time to get back down to business. 30 laps to go. Malik Gray going to be in control as the pace car pulls down and into the lane. The Sim Seats 21 takes us back to the green flag. Oh, and a check up on the 24. It didn't get going at all. That's going to stack up the inside line. We're going to be 3 wide in the dash down to turn number 1. And Lamperti on the bottom, washing up. Watch out for Joseph Tice. One car strapped to him, and it's Tom Wetmore. That's going to stack the inside line up further. And somehow 3 wide, 4, maybe 5 down the straightaway. Still 4 wide. Now 2 rows deep down to the turns 3 and 4. And somehow that doesn't lead to caution flag number 3.
They figured it out real quick. I think they understood that you can't do that. Right, this is what you mix when you start to mix tire stints. If we can actually pull the stints up here on the side, people will understand. 4 laps on tires compared to everybody else who maybe has 10 laps, 11 laps, 14 laps on their tires. There's a big difference here, and Nashville's one of the tracks that you're going to feel the difference, and you're going to feel it really, really fast. Nate got stuck up there to that outside. He's going to try to cut down in front of Riley Grant Davis here in the 24. Try to hold that position, but I don't disagree with not pitting. But once you saw how many people pitted and how many people stayed out, you instantly kicked yourself in the butt because you're like, oh man, like now I'm stuck. Now you need a caution in 10 laps for you to do the same thing they're doing.
Well, I mean, and all that really stemmed from Grant Davis, who had a misshift on the restart, and he didn't go. That's what stacked us all up and caused Grandel to go on to the apron in the first place. And that, of course, led to a domino effect that led to that 4 wide with 2 rows down that back straightaway. We were lucky to escape that, though. And Grant Davis was lucky that it didn't lose any more positions. He's still in 4th. He's trying to chase that. No, Phillip making a pass to the Sim Speed Shop 44 of Lariah, trying to go for 2nd. And if Phillip can get by Michael Araya, maybe Grant Davis can try to have an effort and make the run here for that 3rd position. But Araya's going to hang on to 2nd position. Now he's looking to go on the offensive against Malik Gray.
Yeah, and what I was enjoying right there with Malik Ray's line is he's kind of playing defensive here. You see him, he's actually taking the line away from the 44, making him use his tires on the outside. And that's very smart because the 44 is going to have to check up here a little bit. He's not going to be able to roll the throttle as hard. He's going to get a good run here, but that's still going to allow Malik to go to the bottom. It's going to make the 44 Lariah stay up there to that outside and watch Malik. He's going to stay to his door. He's on the door. He's back to the quarter panel. He's to the front quarter panel. They're still side by side, and now the 44 is going to try to get clear, but it's not going to work. Here we go again. Malik's going to go into the corner. It's going to still allow the 44 to carry the momentum, but he's burning the tires up to there on that outside, and Malik's just down there rolling the bottom, being, calm, cool, and collective. But now Michael Araya finally gets clear. It took him 3 laps to do it. And now we'll see if a caution potentially comes out to help the 21's cause.
Got a bit tight right behind in the battle for third as well, and now it's Phillip to be blocking Nate Stewart way down to the end. You talked earlier, we don't want to be blocking Stewart, and well, Phillip did just that. And boy, it is getting tight back here, deeper in the field as Stewart's trying to make the look for Agno Phillip in the bid for the 4th position. Everybody's throwing blocks left, right, and center. Nobody's willing to give each other any kind of wiggle room anymore. It's crunch time. They know how hard it is to pass on this racetrack. And for these guys that are on the older tires, they don't defend like this. There's no way they're getting these spots back in the later run. They have to defend like everything they can now.
Yeah, I mean, you have to press the go button. At some point in time, you have to realize that it is time to go. And Ronald Grant Davis, he gets around Malik Gray, push him back to third, to put the 24 up to the highest position he's been all race long. Now can he go chase Michael Araya, who led majority of the opening part of this race. Oh, we're about to see the caution. There it is. There goes 6. Oh, no. And this was a lifesaver. 10 laps again. I called it once more. You can call me Nostradamus. It's 10 laps on the money to put the rest of this field down pit road. And now that the other driver saw how big of a disadvantage, did you see the 5 just drove it in there, and Thomas George just got his radio knocked out. But everybody's going to pit. I don't see why you wouldn't. You don't have. You saw the disadvantage there. People were falling like rocks into Cumberland. That's a river, by the way.
I got to be completely honest. It almost like Thomas George pinched him in. I mean, yeah, Joseph Tice did kind of throw it in, but he was alongside before that corner, and he didn't push up from the apron at all. If he hadn't down any further, he would have been on the apron straddling that yellow line. I think that was a bad pinch from the Series XM number 6 Mustang that sent him sliding up.
Oh, no, Lariah.
And oh, boy.
Oh, they left him like Thanksgiving leftovers.
You know what this reminds me of? Lewis Hamilton, the Hungaroring, 2022.
Yes.
Or 2021,
yes.
Excuse
21.
me.
21. I don't watch much F1.
Change over to slick tires on the restart.
Yeah, come on. I don't watch much F1, but I remember that race. That one was crazy. Yeah, he got hung out to dry there, and like I said, everybody just witnessed it. Everybody just watched what happened to Nate, what happened to Malik. You go all the way back through these drivers. They fell like, the goalpost in Tennessee did. Why wouldn't you pit? Like you had to realize that right there, this was not the opportunity. This could potentially be the last caution. You're going to have 19 to go. We take this green flag. I don't want to jinx us, so I'm knocking on wood. You just don't leave yourself much wiggle room right there to not come down pit lane. And wow, Lariah is going to be playing a lot of defense.
The question is, how much of this defense is going to result in him keeping positions, and how much of this is going to end up with him sliding into a wall himself, just like Thomas George just did?
I don't think he's going to slide in the wall. I mean, unless he really gets aggressive. And Michael Araya is not that kind of driver. Don't take that as him having to play defenses that he's a dirty driver. He's actually a really talented, really smart race car driver in here. The thing is he's going to have to make calculated moves. He's going to have to, when he comes down, he's going to have to protect the bottom like Malik did. You saw what Malik did going into one, where he instantly took a more shallow approach to the entry of the corner, while Lariah took more of an arch approach where he swung it out wide and then dove it in. But he's about to figure out what 13 lap old tires and 11 of them under the green flag conditions at race pace feels like against everybody else in the field. And his biggest issue is not going to be the 21 to his outside. The biggest issue he's going to have is either spinning the tires and watching the 24 and the 4 try to dive him on the bottom, or him just spinning them and him getting split, like Moses in the Red Sea.
Interesting enough, Richard Woodruff has gotten a free pass around the safety car. Now, the reason why that is a bit significant is the fact that he pitted with everybody else on the lead lap. So, in theory, that should mean his lucky dog is invalidated, but there was nobody else available to take it. So part of me wonders if the sim gave it to him on a technicality because they couldn't give it to anybody else.
I see something out there in the chat. Maddox 3 Us. give a shout out to the 30 car hood. Can we go back to the 30? Who is that?
It's Kaczynski.
Kaczynski. What's on the hood? Can we hover over him? Do we have the Power Rangers? Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, Power Rangers. I like it, Mike. That's pretty cool.
And I think we can give a little bit of a commemoration here to the other thing that's on the hood, in the memory of one Tommy from September 4th, 1973 to November 19th of just earlier this year. So big condolences to the folks over in that camp for what I imagine must not be the most easiest of times for them for the XPM number 30 Supra. So yeah, we can give those shouts wherever it may be necessary, and I think that's definitely one that was worthy of some recognition as of right there. So iRacing safety car about to pull on down into pit road, and this time it's Lariah on really old tires about to lead us away.
This is gonna get fun. He's gonna have the blues when this is over.
Pace car is down and into the road, and now with 18 laps to go, Lariah's going to enter the restart zone. Watch for the wheel spin. Pace car's off. We're underway once again. It's a good getaway, though, for Lariah. No wheel spin. Have to watch for those corners. That's where it's really going to start to pick up. We'll see what the speed difference is. Malik Ray trying to chase after him into turn one.
You see there, Malik actually got clear of the 24, Grant Davis. Nate pulls into 4. Agnell Phillips can jump to the 4th spot right there. They're going to change positions, go side by side here as they go into turn 3. Nate's going to be to the outside, Agnell to the bottom. We'll give that spot to the 94. So he's going to slide up right there. You're side by side, 3 wide, 1 on the apron. That's Connor Moore trying to make a run back through the field. There goes Malik Ray back to the race lead. He's going to make easy work of Lariah. Now Lariah, he's where he doesn't want to be. That outside, because the 24 is going to get to the inside. Then you're going to see Agnell Phillip jump down to the inside. Everybody's going to want to get up here and go as fast as possible to get to the inside of that 44, because if he gets back to the bottom, he's a roadblock. And, I mean, this is not construction on 65. You don't want to be a roadblock.
You saw Nate Stewart as well trying to make a pass at Agnell Phillip while that was going on, but Phillips slammed the doors shut and denied the Hopkins Community College for Supra of a chance to make the run-up into a podium position. Now Lariah is clear. He's got to go to the bottom if he wants it. Cato going to try to lunge it in from behind, but can't get there in time. So now Lariah going to play spoiler. Meanwhile, we got cars wrecking in turn number 4, and it's a 3, 4, 5. It's the big one, might even be the huge one. Off of turn number 4 at the Nashville Super Speedway. There were 2 separate incidents that collected in this one here, Thierry. You had one involving Joseph Tice and a second one involving Connor Horn.
Man, what's this, day Nashville? Let's look here. See the 43 of Kalis, 7 of Trudell. Devin pinches down, makes contact, 42 gets loose. Everybody's oh, damn. Oh, alrighty then. All right then. So Connor Horn, Michael Johnson. Oh, okay. So spin. Oh, and then nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. That's how you get 2 wrecks.
If you get another look at Connor Horn throughout this mess, because there was about 4 other cars that piled into this after that mess itself, and to start with Michael Johnson, you're going to see as well Phipps get into this, and I believe Lamperti got a piece as well. There were a lot of cars that got collected this. I think about 9 or 10 total involved in a major incident, and they continued the wreck even afterwards as Harris ran to the side of Thomas George. So keep eyes here on the 67. Right there, you saw Harris go up to the wall again, and goodness, it's just complete pandemonium at that point off of turn number 4.
It's the wreck that keeps on giving. I mean, I know it's the Christmas season, but damn, when you have to do them like that, I mean, I get 3 wide contact. You know, that happens. You're 3 wide, you didn't realize it, you go in the corner, little contact happens. But dang, we'd have to wreck half the field there. Everybody got hit. Hell, I'm in Georgia and I felt like I got hit.
Coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4, still with lights on above the iRacing pace car. A good chunk of your field collected, and this is starting to remind me a lot of what happened at Dover. It was clean for so long, then one caution comes out in the middle of a pit cycle at a bad opportunity involving a car fresh out of pit road, and all of a sudden it turns into a caution fest. This is literally Dover all over again.
That happens.
On a concrete track, too. There's too many similarities for this to be a coincidence.
I mean, you could draw them.
Ray still holds the lead now. Davis is back in second, Phillip in third. Now, where is Lariah? I believe Lariah pitted under this latest yellow flag, and that, in fact, he did. So, realizing the mistakes, Lariah came down pit road. He's now sitting way back in 23rd. The problem Lariah's got is a lot of the cars in front of him have a lot of damage on them is being collected in that melee in turns 4 and the tri-oval. So I think Lariah might have shot himself in the foot for the rest of the race with that call to stay out of pit road a couple cautions ago.
Yeah, already getting tweets that I said there would be no more cautions. Okay, I knocked on wood. It didn't happen.
Was it hardwood or fake wood?
I mean, it's...
If it's fake wood, it amplifies it. I don't know where I heard that. It's just something new I'm starting now.
I mean, it was my head.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't know the rules on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that smart.
Let's ask our producer, Josh. Josh, what's your inputs on this? Do you have any thoughts on if a head knock counts as a proper knock on wood? Okay, well, he says he thinks it counts. I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him that. We normally don't argue with the producer guy.
Must be the quality of the wood. We'll chalk it up to that.
We argue with Evan a lot, but I mean, he's watching, so I mean, we kind of can't. He hadn't commented or nothing. He just sent sneaky facts in the Discord at us. I wonder if he still is watching. I know he's watching the race because he's obviously doing his admin roles, but wonder what he thinks of it, if he's enjoying it. The 40 people watching, hopefully you're enjoying it.
If we get into the caution, we'll spin the wheel again to find out what random tangible will go off on our next yellow flag. But for now, we'll get back to racing action as it'll be 11 laps to go this time by at the start-finish line. Malik Ray once again in the catbird seat. Green flags back in the air. We're underway.
That was a dang good restart there from Malik. You see this drone-ish shot that we have here from producer guy as Phillips going for second here on Riley Grant Davis in the 24. And what a good run for that boosted 24 machine up there on the outside. Putting together a very good Nashville welcome. I think we're about to see a bigger wreck.
I hope we don't see a bigger wreck, because if you see a bigger wreck at this point, it's going to take us out of about half the cars we got in this field at the moment, and we've still got 10 laps left to go from the 1.3 concrete monster here, although not as famous as the 1 mile one. I'm not sure if it'd be an older or a younger sibling. We'll call it the cousin, and we'll leave it at that for now. Malik Ray clear by 4 from Agnell Phillip in that second position. They're double file, a good chunk throughout your midfield here, and even 3 wide further down the order. But we're going to continue to keep tabs on Michael Johnson and Jason Staney here as they're closing up to the back end of Corey Blevins, who's trying to break away with that 8th position. Michael Johnson has a lot of damage from that incident, remember, and now he's having to work to fight Zach Roethlisberger on the bottom and Braden Whitaker, who just tried to take a spot from the top. Oh, one car going around, and it's going to be another mess in turn 2. At least 3 cars involved, and it was Thomas George, San Nieto, I think Minazzi, Nahoyne Flores in the Junko Esports machine got a piece of this, and I believe Lamperti making it a 5-car wreck. So not quite as big, but definitely one that's going to leave us even closer to a green-white checkered finish. And it was with the number 9 of Jaron Wymaster to send it in, and again, nowhere behind it. It's just an accordion effect at that point.
That's the second time for George there to get spun around, but it sets up for a pretty decent finish you're going to have. I mean, you see the 9, Wymaster threw it in there. You kind of have to, and it's a late defense by George, but you know, it's still avoidable, right? It's still one of those things you check up for. You kind of make that room. You give and take a little bit more in the back of the field. You look here at Sam Nieto. He had a good run going. All right, then got caught up in a mess. Had to drive back through the field. And then this
he had no idea.
Yeah, he had no idea it was happening in front of him. I mean, everybody split. Just go left to right, and he's still there on the bottom, thinking, okay, everything's fine. And then bam, he gets hit. But this is going to set up pretty decent because now I think we have the 3 fastest cars. I think now we have the 3 fast guys with Agnell, Malik, and Nate to who could take this win out of those 3. And a couple surprises that are back there that could potentially come up here and win this race if those 3 were to make contact.
Just kind of trying to track what our caution count has been looking like for the start of the race. We obviously had a 56-lap stint for our first run. Then we had about an 7-lap stint for our second run of the race. Then it was about 9 laps. Then it was 4. This latest one was 3. So the number of laps between cautions is shrinking dramatically. And we've spent about as long, we've actually spent longer in these last 40 laps or so than we did in the entire first 55 at this point with how many yellow flags you've had. This is going to be caution number 5 on the day for us here today. And the way the trends are looking, I think we're going to be in for a green-white checkered here, unless they can make these last 5 green flag laps clean here, Terry.
I'm not jinxing it again.
Foiled.
Yeah, you quickly get called out on Twitter when you call it wrong. That one thing I love about calling races in general, no matter what I'm doing or calling anything, they're quick to poke fun at you on Twitter, and they're not mean about it. They're fun. They have a good time, but yeah, we ain't uttering those words. I mean, we'll have 4 to go. So I kind of think this is Malik's race to lose. I don't want to jinx him because I mean I've called everything right, caution-wise, with the 10 laps, but no caution thing didn't. But I think Malik's the driver that you're gonna have to rough him up to get him off the bottom. I mean, you're all on equal tires. You got to go back to 11th before you find the first driver that came down pit road on this time. But
well, Nate Stewart.
I don't think Nate's going to win this race.
I mean, you mentioned you need to rough up Malik Ray a little bit to get to the race lead. Nate's been doing that all night long. It's how he's up to 3rd, so I don't know if he can predict a restart here. Anything's really possible at this point in time, I'd say.
Well, I mean, you got to look at where Malik's been going in the restart box. Past couple restarts, he's been there. I mean, you see the restart box there. He's picked a different Geico spot to go. The first one, he went in the second one. And then if you go back and watch the second restart he had when he was the race leader, he went at the first one. That's something you got to do with the race leader. You have to change up the tempo, what you're doing. Because if the same guy's behind you every single restart, they'll get a rhythm. Like, okay, he's going on the second one. The thing is Malik, he's a pro for a reason. You know, he's out here. If you're looking at the future of the sport, along with Rajah Caruth, you're looking at him right here in the race lead. You're looking at Malik Gray. Him and Rajah are the future of NASCAR. They're the future of motorsports, in my opinion. People can disagree with me all they want on who the future is. Those 2 gentlemen are the future of NASCAR. He's a pro because he knows how to play mind games. He understands that he has to go in the restart box at a different time because a guy like Nate Stewart or Agnell Phillip, they don't care. They're going to get on your door at the first moment that they see you going in the restart box. I personally think he's going to go between 1 and 2, and he's going to take it. The moment he gets to that restart box, he's gone.
We'll wait and see here as Malik Ray makes his run towards the restart line, slowing up just a touch. Oh, he's waiting that long. He's waiting right till the end. He waited for the juke, and he worked like a charm. Agnew Phillip took the bait, and now Malik Ray clear. They wrecked off of turn 4, coming to the start-finish line. Weimerser got punted around, but there was no yellow flag because there was only actually one car collected, so no yellow flag if Iverson doesn't throw it themselves. 3 to go at the line.
You remember what you said? Nate Stewart being second, roughed his way up to the front. Well, I'll be damned. He's right there, right in the spot that we kind of thought. I said that Malik, Nate, and Agnew was your 3 best cars from start to finish. You take a look at his face there, pure calmness. I wish we had Malik's on board here as well, because the nerves in holding guys off that has a lot of experience on this track. Like I said, not but a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the college series was here, still running the same paint scheme. So a little bit, I believe it was the same weather and everything, exact same setup that you have here on the racetrack. He has it, so he finished up near the front there, and he's right on the back bumper of Malik Ray in the 21. 2 to go. You're gonna have to rough him up pretty hard here to get this win.
Still about a car length or so. Malik Ray bobbling slightly down the back straightaway here as we hightail it down and towards turn number 3 and 4. They've crashed again, Nieto and Lamperti, but there will be no yellow flag as we'll take it to the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Nate Stewart is there, right on the back of the Malik Ray, trying for the outside line to find a way around.
Oh, he's there.
Got momentum around the outside line. Side by side to the back straightaway. It is on. The Hopkins Community College Supra against the Sim Seats Ford Mustang. Still alongside in the 3 and 4. Got the run off of turn number 4 into the first straightaway. Oh, he got it! And Stewart's into the outside wall. Malik Ray wins from the Nashville Super Speedway as they throw it away across the checkered flag.
Oh, man, I was hoping they wouldn't have made contact. That would have been a barn burner finish right there. But damn, he got right on his door. And once you get on the door here, I don't know if that was a little bit of a dirty bubble there in between the cars, but we'll take a look at the replay there and just see if we can see an overhead view. He just didn't want to hit him.
Pushed it too hard. Pushed it too hard, overcorrected. Watch the wheel right there. He got loose and just overcorrected into the outside wall, and that collected Nate Stewart and his hopes to win this race as Malik Ray will burn it down on the front straightaway, taking a well-earned race win. And boy, Nate Stewart is going to be kicking himself after that one. What a way for tonight's race to come to a brutal end as Malik Ray takes the race win over Agnew Phillip with Grant Davis back in 3rd. Todd Wetmore was in 4th with Ross Cato in 5th. Ryan Dunkelberger was 6th. Jason Staney was 7th. Corey Blevins, Nate Stewart, and Zach Roethlisberger round out the top 10.
Go back there to the 11th place. You got Braden Whitaker, Michael Araya, who had a very good run, got caught out there, stayed out, had to pit later on. Kyle Trudell, Michael Johnson, Eric Papineau, Mike Kaczynski, Tom Morano, Andrew Phipps, Connor Horn, and Harry Grindell rounds out the top 20.
And that will leave towards the tail end Thomas George in 21st with Nicholas Martin 22nd. Nahoyne Flores was 23rd with Fetter Place back in 24th. Richard Woodruff will be 25th with Steve Durham in 26th. Major, Weimerser, Lamperti, and Nieto will be rounded it out in 26th through 30th, with Nieto the first driver to finish 2 laps down. Drivers not finished in this race include the likes of Joseph Tice, Cody Harris, Sean Kalis, Matthew Mara, and Chris Edwards to round out your 35-car field for what was an intense race over at the Nashville Super Speedway from virtual Lebanon, Tennessee. And what a way for this race to end, and we'll be able to talk to all your podium drivers in a minute here, and we'll start things off with the third place driver, Grant Davis, and a very surprised third place, Grant, as you managed to take that one away as the 4 puts himself into the wall off of the final corner.
Yeah, how about that? I'll take a 3 for Dale finish. been a while since I've got a good finish, or actually finished, period. So I'm pretty excited about it.
So you managed to get yourself that third position, but it did not come easy. You had to do a bit of dogfighting yourself to work your way up there. You started up in 5th place, so you were one of the few drivers up there that was able to actually stay up in the front compared to some of the other guys like the likes of Michael O'Reilly that started 3rd, fell back to 12th. What was part of what helped you to maintain that consistency to help you get a podium finish today?
Just driving mad. I mean, honestly, I'm just tired of getting wrecked every week, and I was just super focused. I don't have much experience in this car, so I was kind of just learning as I go. Not really familiar with this track either, but I don't know, getting to do the Cup Series with some really good people like Agnell and watching Kevin King and my teammates from the end of the Cup Series last year, I just feel like I've kind of picked up on stuff. And I know I don't always get the best results, but if I can just keep the car clean, I think I'm very capable. So it was nice to just get a good finish tonight and not get wrecked or have any chaos happen.
We got set to end out the first half of the 2022/23 Real Sim Racing Winter Series season over at the Phoenix Raceway in just 1 week's time before we go on our little Christmas vacation. So for you, what's it going to be like to swing over to Phoenix where we saw the championship finish on out, but this time only plays host to a halfway point?
I hope I can keep repeating what's happened. I know the first Cup race we did there in Cup last season, almost won it with my car looked like a modified. I almost won the thing. And then the second time for the Final Four, I was a top 3 car on speed, and I had really good long run pace. I know that next gen is a lot different than the Xfinity, but Phoenix is one of my favorite tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it goes well, and maybe I can score another podium finish.
And, well, thank you, Grant, for taking the time to join us here tonight. It's been good to be able to get the chance to talk to you. We don't get to do it all that often. Hopefully we'll be able to do it even more frequently, though, in the near future. Thank you for joining us here tonight. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish. Best of luck in Arizona.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
It's Grant Davis joining us here in his boosted number 24 Chevrolet, and we'll move things on down to the 2nd place driver who was set to be the 3rd place runner. And Terry, you're standing by with Agnell Phillip.
What's up, Agnell?
Hey, Terry. How's it going?
Pretty good. Watched a good race at Nashville. Got 2nd there, and I wouldn't say got it gifted to you, but, well, it is Christmas time. Nate overcorrects on the outside, pushes into the wall. You take 2nd. What did you have there on that last restart to maybe go up there and pass Malik?
I didn't have enough, and just restarting 2nd, just such a disadvantage, especially for me. I don't know. I'm not very good at restarts generally, so I was, but at the end of the day, this is a season-long points deal, right? So, I was, as long as I came away 3rd, I was going to be happy with it. But I think I'm just fated to finish 2nd a bunch because, yeah, that was kind of gifted to me there at the end.
Well, we talk about the rest of the season, and got a couple unique tracks that are coming up down the road. We got a couple road courses that are going to be seen on the schedule. What excites you the most as we get this going?
Yeah, I think Phoenix, it doesn't excite me, but I'm pretty decent there. Let's see, what else is Montreal? We take it or leave it. We'll see what we can kind of get out of that race. Gateway, I don't, with Christmas and New Year's, I don't know how much practice I'm going to get in there. So, at the end of the day, I'm not a huge fan of the remaining schedule, at least the individual tracks, if I'm being completely honest. Vegas is probably my favorite of the bunch, and that's last. But, we've got, I think we opened up a pretty, not like sizable, but a little bit more comfortable points lead here. So, just going to try and maintain, at the very least, keep trying to click off those top 5s and top 10s and try to get to New Hampshire and Vegas maybe with a fairly comfortable margin, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the tracks on the schedule, but just trying to make the most and kind of learn this car at the same time. It had been a long time before I had since I had driven it, because I kind of focused on the truck and the next gen last year. So I'm kind of just trying to get up to speed. It feels like every week, and every time there's a new track, it's like kind of starting all over again to some extent. But yeah, we'll see how it kind of goes, how the rest of the schedule shakes up.
Well, we appreciate your time, Magnum. We'll see you next Monday night.
Appreciate it, Terry. Thanks.
And we're going to move on down then to Malik Ray's number 21 Sim Seats Ford Mustang, the race winner. But holy cow, was it ever a close one, Malik, as you managed to just barely fend off Nate Stewart, who I guess you could say cut you a little bit of a break there on that outside line as you sweep away to take the win.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun this race. I know you had to save tires a good bit, but towards the end, it was just caution after caution after caution. So everyone was going their absolute, hardest. And then out of turn 4, I think Nate got loose. I think he got loose, and then he overcorrected to keep from hooking me up the track. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to kind of back things up towards the start of the race, because there was something that I saw that really interested me that we didn't see later on from you. You gave up the lead early on. Now, we talked about this because when you're in the clean air, you can burn that right front up. But what kind of changed to make you not want to do that so much when you had the lead in the later portions, especially on that first restart?
On the first restart, I assumed that it was just going to go green the entirety of the race. So that's why I let him go. And I thought he was gonna burn up his stuff, and then he didn't burn up his stuff until after lap 35 of the run, and then towards the end, I just knew that it was gonna be caution after caution, so I just tried to drive as hard as I could, because I didn't want to have to start on second or third or anywhere but the lead, because I know that it's really hard to pass here.
Well, it certainly seemed to pay off for you as you managed to obviously hang on for the race win tonight. Obviously, we don't see around all too often the Real Sim Racing Series anymore, but will we be seeing you out next week at Phoenix as well?
Yes, you will.
Oh, awesome. Well, in that case, anything you'd like to say when we swing on out to Arizona?
That track is also hard to pass it, so you're going to need to qualify top 5 there, otherwise you're not going to have a shot. But that's it.
3 tracks hard to pass that in a row, and bound to be just as excited if we're going to have you on the grid there. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to us, Malik. Best of luck next week then when we swing out to Phoenix.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
That was Malik Ray joining us over there from Victory Lane, and we're going to end our Eastern brawl here, and we got set to swing out west to the desert over in Phoenix, Arizona, where you heard Malik say it best. It's another very hard track to pass at here, Terry, and you've got 3 of them back-to-back-to-back. Dover, Nashville, Phoenix. Phoenix, though, is a big one because it is by far the most unique track we're going to be having on the schedule, with the exception of the road course. It's the most unique oval track we'll have on the schedule. So, what's your thoughts as we get set to swing out to Phoenix? We heard from the other drivers. What's your take on it?
I love Phoenix. I think it's one of the best racetracks out there. I do agree it is going to be a little bit more difficult to pass. When you sweep the corner, we watched the championship race get made here. We saw a last lap finish for Agnell Phillip to win this race on the outside of Kevin King and just edged him to the line ever so slightly. I'm looking forward to the road courses later on in the season. Hopefully the Pasoko guy will be back for the West Coast race. We'll miss his side-by-side coverage here on RaceSpot, but I'm telling you, this is going to be the best. This right here should be the best race, Phoenix.
And you'll be able to catch all the action on December 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, just as this race was tonight, as well as every other race in the Real Sim Racing IceBreaker Winter Series season. For now, though, from virtual Lebanon, Tennessee, and the Nashville Super Speedway, it is time to close. My name is Little Rempel with Terry Radford beside me in the broadcast booth, and Joshua Lee been doing an excellent job, as always, down behind the cameras for tonight's race. Thank you for tuning in to RaceSpotTV. We'll see you all when we swing it out west to the Arizona desert.